Hey everybody, Robert Revels, Digital Painting Tips. This is my very first vlog. Stick with me, I have a story I want to tell you. It's an important one, so let's go. So here's the story time. There's this young daughter, she wants to learn how to cook. She's about 18 or so. She asks her mom to cook the famous family recipe for a pot roast. She gets with her mom, they go into the kitchen, and they start to go through the whole process, pulling out the meat, pulling out the seasonings, and the mom, she goes over and gets a big knife, and she has the pot roast, and she cuts it on the corners, pulls them apart. Now, the young woman asks, well, how come you cut off the ends? Well, the mom said, this is how my mom taught me how to do this. It's just, this is the family tradition. This is how it's been done. So it's, this is what we do. So they go ahead, finish off the pot roast. They eat it. It's delicious. It's like everybody's happy. So they go ahead and do this again. But this time, grandma's there. So this is about a month later. They're in the kitchen. And it's just, all three of them are making this pot roast, and the girl's doing the recipe with the two older ladies looking over her shoulders to make sure she's doing it right. So again, she gets a knife, here's the pot roast, cuts off the end, cuts it off, then they put it inside the pot. And she asks her grandmother, she looks back, it's like, hey grandma, what's the deal with, why do we cut the ends off of this? I mean, it's delicious, I love this recipe, but why do we do it? She says, you know what? That's how my mom taught me to do it. Okay? We've always done it this way. So, they do this one more time. Fortunately, great grandma's still alive. She's now in the living room, and they're going to go in and they're going to cook this for Thanksgiving. Okay? The young girl goes out into the living room. Obviously, she loves her great-grandmother. She wants to honor her, but she also is excited, and she wants to get to the bottom of why they cut the ends, right? They cut these ends off the edge of their pot roast. So she goes in and asks her grandmother, Grandma, we're going to make the pot roast. It's like, why do we cut the ends off? It's the way we've always done it. I just want to know. I want to let you know that we're doing it the right way. Well, her grandmother says, we cut it off because it wouldn't fit into the pot. And she's like, what? It wouldn't fit into the pot. At that time, it was during we didn't have much money. It was during the Great Depression. We couldn't fit it. We were lucky if we got it. And so when we had that meat, we had to cut it off so we could fit it within the little pot that we had. What's the moral of this story? Okay. The moral of the story is be careful what you learn and who you learn from. It's not a bad thing. We all have to learn. That's important. But what I want to explain is this is called Digital Painting Tips. I'm a traditional artist and I'm a digital artist. The point is this. When you learn something from myself, if you learn something from anyone, what you're learning is a habit, a ritual. What you want to learn is the why first. For example, I've been doing digital painting for a long time, 20 years or so. I mean, a very, very long time. There are some things I do out of habit from, let's say, 10 years ago. Technology has changed, and I could change with it. But I do it a certain way, and it's like, it doesn't hurt anything. I just keep doing that particular technique. But I do try to evolve just for my students so that they get the fresh new stuff. But the point is, if you look at somebody on YouTube, or you're in art school and you're learning from an instructor, let's say someone is really bad at perspective. They're going to have shortcuts, tricks, and things that will allow them to not deal with perspective, right? There are a lot of artists, you'll notice, illustrators, professionals. They never draw hands, not in depth, or they never draw feet. The feet will just kind of fade into black and fade out into the bottom, or they always crop high, right? People learn how to hide their weaknesses. So when you learn from an expert has weaknesses. So when you learn their strength, you're also learning their weaknesses because they're playing up the strength, hiding the weakness. Everyone does this. It's not even conscious. We don't do this with the intent of misleading people. It's just how it is. Okay. So when you look at somebody's tutorial, look at it and really think, so, well, okay, how are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Every time I look at a tutorial, and I look at everyone, I look at tutorials, even if someone is fresh in art school, I'll look at what they're doing. I'll look at the best of the best. It doesn't matter. I may have a lot of experience and I may have done this forever, but I always look at every single tutorial that I can get my hands on, but I never look at it from the step-to-step process. What I like to do is look at it, absorb it, and then deconstruct every single aspect of that tutorial and put it into my own workflow and how I will use it. Or what they're doing may not even, for me, I'll look at it and say, that is actually a waste of time. That's not necessary. I have a better way. But what if we do this, add this little component here, add another component here, and now I have a whole new technique that maybe I haven't seen before. So this is how I like to do it. I highly encourage you to do this because I see this happen a lot, and this happens to students. Really, let me explain this. The reason why I'm taking the time to do this is because I've been to GDC with some of my students. I've seen a lot of different people trying to get jobs, and they'll copy a technique that they see on YouTube, or they'll spend the money and watch a tutorial on how to digital paint. Learn how to digital paint now, become a concept artist real easy. They copy the person's style and technique verbatim. They go show their work and they can't get a job. And they're frustrated and they're like, why can't I get a job? I'm doing the same technique. But the reality is the technique really doesn't matter. It's what's behind the technique is what's getting people jobs. The technique is fleeting. That's going to come and go. Photo bash is here, speed paint, whatever, who cares? Next week, something new will be out. Something's always going to come and take the place, technically wise. So what I always teach my students at the Academy, as well as I'm going to start doing my own classes for the people who have graduated and they still weren't ready. I want to make sure I take care of them. And also for any of you guys who are interested. But here's the point. I teach the core principles because that's what's going to sustain you. I mean, really sustain you throughout your career. You're going to be technique independent. I teach technique and I teach a lot of technique. But the point is, you shouldn't be so dependent on a technique that once technology changes or something else changes, that you are no longer viable, right? I started as a traditional painter. I love it to this day, but I do everything digital. I take those skills and I transfer it into digital. And I show everything fundamentally that way. But I have other techniques that I can do that I don't necessarily show my students just yet. Because if I show them the shortcuts, I'm going to shorten their career. It's important for me to show them how to do things the right way and so that they can think. So that if the technique changes or technology changes, they can evolve with it. So that's it. That's all I got for today. That was my very first vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, hey, it's okay to don't put a thumbs down. Come on. I'm trying to help you. But anyway, just kidding. Thumbs up. Subscribe. Subscribe if you want more of this. Please let me know down below if there's information that you want. If this was annoying, I need to know that too. And yeah, I'm going to have a whole bunch of other stuff coming. I have some more tutorials coming as well. Just keep this in mind. I have 2 beautiful twin daughters that are about to be 3, so they require so much attention, and I love giving them attention. They're daddy's girls, and I love my babies, so I spend a lot of time with them. They come first. I obviously have a full-time job. I'm instructing. I have people that I'm mentoring outside of that. I'm in high demand, so there's a lot of things going on. So there will be stuff weekly. I can't give a timeline when they will come out exactly, just because of the schedule can get a little crazy, especially if my girls are sick. And guess what? They were sick a little bit last week. Now I'm sick, wiping my nose, a little sore throat. This is common in this house, so you'll notice I will always have a little bit of a sniffle or a throat. But anyway, that's it. Enough rambling. Robert Revels, Digital Painting Tips, out.